Okay, recording is started. Sorry about that. I intended to do that before Xavier had an opportunity to update. So, here you can see, and I got to get my display settings right. Sorry. Okay, so April 3rd, that's this session now. You kind of heard my spiel. April 10th, it's going to be free kick mechanics, penalty enforcement, free kick plays. On the 17th, we're going to go into 7-man passing play mechanics, and then we'll follow that up with penalty enforcement related to passing plays. And again, if you're interested in maybe as a crew leading one of these sessions, please volunteer in the chat window. Then on the 24th, we're going to cover 7-man scrimmage kick mechanics, and then follow that up with penalty enforcement and some scrimmage kicks, 1 scrimmage kicks. Then May 1st, we're going to cover 7-man goal line mechanics, and then we're actually not going to do a whole lot of penalty enforcement related to goal line, but I wanted to go through a blocking below the waist rules review, and then team A and team B line of scrimmage movements, intended to draw a foul on one team or the other. I do want to say and congratulate the chapter. I think we are doing a much better job on recognizing and appropriately calling these team A and B movements that are really designed to draw either the defense offside or for the defense to try to draw a false start. We still have some room to go, but I think it's showing up in films and showing up by coaches that they're seeing us actually having the consistency in calling this. So that's a good thing, and kudos to everybody who's doing that. One area I think we struggled with last year, and I'm just basing this on feedback from the coaches. I think they even struggled, by the way, was blocking below the waist rules. So, now we're a second year into it. I think we're a little bit wiser, but it's a good refresher, I think, based on that feedback we got from coaches last year, that we probably want to do another review on that. So these are the sessions. Again, I highly encourage you, if you're a crew and you want to get together and lead one of these sessions, please put your name in the chat window. Don't be afraid. We'll work with you to get you all the training material we have, and hopefully you can put a presentation together and we'll cover it again. Does not have to be long. Each one, 20 minutes. That's all it really needs to be. Any questions, Xavier or Shane?
Nothing yet.
I know the chat box is full of volunteers, right?
I'm seeing crickets.
Okay. So, and again, these sessions will be recorded, as long as I remember to turn it on. Wanted to give you a quick update. If you don't know the way TASA works, you have an off-season board meeting that's typically in February, and then you have one pre-season, which is in July, corresponds with the state annual meeting. This was actually not a whole lot came out of this meeting in the sense of any big changes or anything. We usually get a TAPS update. I just thought I'd throw this in here that I did not realize this, but they're the largest private school, sports-related association in the U.S. But they every year say this: do not hesitate to throw an unsportsmanlike on a coach or a player when it's deserved, and then please do the incident report. They are a little bit more strict with players and coaches. They actually get fined, and so they want us to not be afraid to again, when it's deserved, to flag the coaches, because they want to get that kind of behavior out of the game. The UIL report was pretty slim this year. As you know, Susan Elza left for a position at Union of Nebraska on Matt Rule's football staff. That position is, I think, still to be filled. And there also was, interesting enough, a bill that was introduced to move the UIL under the TA, but no outcome of that yet. This is an official pay increase year for us. If you remember last year, we got a bump in travel pay. This year, we're going to get a bump in varsity game pay, which will be $5, for each tier. Sub-varsity will be proportional. I don't think it's going to be the full $5, but I don't know what those values are. As soon as I get the calculator updated or I get that information, I'll make sure I share it with you. But good news is here, we are going to get a little bit more money this year, especially in varsity, and a little bit more in sub-varsity as well. If you haven't heard, the annual state meeting is going to be in Dallas this year. I'll talk a little bit more about the venue and kind of the activities planned later. We are the host chapter. We do have a state meeting committee that's already formed, headed up by Ken Lento, and they're off and running and already planning a lot of those activities. So hopefully this is an event that most of us can attend. Since we're hosting the state meeting, we will not be having a regional rules clinic. Good news is on the mechanics front, no significant mechanics changes are planned for this year. I think there's some editorial changes on a few things, but nothing significant. We have TASO training webinars that are planned, and several of them have already been completed. The nice thing is about those, and I encourage everybody to either attend or to go back and watch the replay, is that you can watch replay of them. So you can go into your TASO account and actually replay them if you missed them, or if you just wanted to listen to it again. All right, proposed rule changes. So by proposed, these are not final. These have not even been finalized by the NCAA, but I wanted to just give you a preview of what may be coming. So the changes actually are really related about the game clock. Now, the NCAA is saying that they want to, it's kind of a way to reduce the number of plays, ideally, to make it safer for players. I think we all know that it's probably more likely that they don't want these games going as long as they're going, and they want to make sure they fit into the television window, broadcast window. But either way, this is what they're proposing. They'll stop the game clock. We'll restart the game clock after you have a first down that's gained in bounds. Currently, we stop the clock and then we restart it, obviously, when we get chains moved. But if they go out of bounds, we don't. So we'll wait to see the actual language of what they're going to do. And then, as you know, the UIL will then have to decide whether they want to adopt that as well. They're also looking at the game clock will continue to be stopped when a first down is gained during the last 2 minutes of either half. So this change would only be applicable to those first quarter, and then all but the last two minutes of the second and the fourth quarter. Teams would be prohibited from calling consecutive team timeouts. I mean, does this happen a lot? Not really, but it does happen. But I guess it'll save a little bit of time. Penalties at the end of the first and third quarter would carry over and be enforced on the first play of the next quarter. Whereas, today we extend the period, or we would typically extend the quarter to do the replay. And this looks like, again, trying to save time. So they're just going to move to the next quarter and then and not replay the down. This one, they're looking at establishing some guidelines for second half warm-up activities. I actually thought they already had that, but I guess I'm wrong. Including requiring teams to wait until the field is made available to return and having designated areas of the field to warm up. Again, I thought college had that already. I don't know that this is a big problem for us. I mean, yes, we have bands that go long, but usually the teams will come out and warm up in one end zone for a little bit. So we'll wait to see if this gets approved and then what the UIL does with it. And then, again, when teams are on the field, drones are not allowed over the playing surface or the team area. That's kind of the same what we have today as well. And when that does happen, we ask game site management to get it removed. And if they don't, I would file an incident report. Okay, so these are going to be reviewed by the NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel and potentially approve them or not. And this will happen on April 20th. So we would not know if the NCAA is going to adopt these until that time frame. And then the UIL would then take those and review them and make a decision if they're going to accept them or not, as they put them in part of the UIL exceptions for our games. So stay tuned. Just wanted to give you an early view of what may be coming. Please, these are not final. So stay tuned, and we'll give you an update when we get the final language and the final changes. All right, Shane, any questions? Xavier?
No, sir.
Okay. Huddle changes. So we had several crew chiefs during our crew chief training this year that actually I thought pretty interesting idea. Wanted to know, hey, right now a crew typically only gets videos that are games they worked. And they asked, can we get access to more than that? Can we see some of the games of our upcoming schools? And what we actually thought we're going to do is we're just going to share all the game video with all DFOA members. So that's going to put a lot more videos into your Huddle account, but that's fine. They're separated by week. You know which games you work, so you can find yours pretty easily. But you will have access to other games if you want to look ahead and see a team that you have the next week, and there's a video there. It's a great opportunity to go in and watch them and see if there's anything you need to be prepared for. Recruiting and retention update. This is obviously very important because I think recruiting and retention is probably the single biggest issue facing officiating, not only in high school, probably some of the lower college ranks, but it's also nationwide as well. So last year we had a great year. We had 129 new members. 92 were new, and I'm counting transfers in here, by the way. So they're net new adds to the DFOA. 92 new officials and 37 transfers in. That's a combination from other TASO chambers, other TASO chapters, and also transfers in from out of state. One interesting stat, and this was the largest number, 35 were recruited by another DFOA member. There's probably more than that were recruited by a DFOA member. They just may not have selected that when they were asked that question when they joined. We will be kicking off Facebook advertising and Indeed ads. We did that last year. That's what drove many inquiries and new joins. And again, we're going to continue to do that in 2023 as well. Matter of fact, we'll be kicking off the Facebook ads probably sometime in April. So look ahead a little bit for 2023. First, let's look at, how many of those 129 that I can see anyway, actually, because the transfers don't necessarily always get included in here. It's kind of weird unless they're a transfer from out of state. So that number is a little bit blended, but we actually have had 64% of our 129 have rejoined the DFOA. That's actually really good. That's probably 10 points higher than what our typical retention rate is. So I hope that continues. And it's still a long way to go between the season. So we'll probably get more than 83 actually that can return this year. And we've actually reached out to all of those members who have not returned to encourage them to return and also to understand why they may not. So we can get that data and see if there's something we need to make affect a change on. Right now, as of end of March, we actually have 54 new DFOA officials. That's the best number I've ever seen to date at the end of March. 39 are new officials and 15 are transfers in. And we haven't even started the Facebook and Indeed ad campaigns yet. So I expect this number to go really high. I hope we can beat the 129. I think we all know we need more officials. Like you just heard, David said, we're getting more schools. And with more schools comes more varsity games, but comes a lot more sub-varsity as well. So good news on the recruiting and retention front, but we still got work to do. And I still encourage you. You guys are the best recruiters. You work with people that are like-minded or might be interested in it. You work other sports. Encourage them if they're interested to please join the DFOA because, again, bottom line is this is the single biggest problem facing officiating today is getting enough people who want to be officials. All right, any questions? James, Xavier, can I move on?
Move on.
All right. So you guys are probably tired of me saying this, but kind of tied into that recruiting and so that retention number that I just showed you is a mentorship program. And again, this is vitally important to the DFOA so that we can improve the experience of our newer officials and ultimately improve that retention year over year. We kind of did this last year. You heard me talk about it a little bit, but here's kind of the goals of the mentorship program. We're going to get a little bit more serious about it again this year. It was kind of just a kickoff last year. Now we're going to do a few more activities related to it. I'm not going to go through each of these goals. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. But again, last and most importantly, we want to promote the retention of officials. And mentorship has shown in many studies to be one of the single biggest contributors to retaining officials. Again, participation in this program is voluntary, but it's highly recommended that members volunteer to be mentors and that newer officials participate as well as being a mentee. As I mentioned, 2022 was our kickoff of a formal mentorship program. In 2023, we're going to continue, and we'll also have we're going to add in some regularly scheduled check-ins with the mentors and the mentees to get feedback on progress throughout the season, just to see if the mentorship is actually working and people are listening or people are responding, and then if not, we'll need to make some changes, or even some improvements if needed. Okay. One last big thing. So we're going to get through the off-season training, and then we're going to go into we'll have the state meeting, and then we're going to get into our regularly scheduled chapter meeting. So I wanted to give you just the schedule of those activities. First and foremost, the DFOA new members training. We will start June 20th. That's a Tuesday this year because Monday the 19th is a holiday. That'll be for our new members. It'll be an orientation. And then from there, we'll follow on every Monday night, June 26th through August 28th, so all the way up to the season start. The only date that we won't will be the July 3rd because of the July 4th holidays. We are going to be meeting again at Dallas College Brookhaven campus, and we'll be sending out updates to all of our new officials as we get closer to that date so that they have all the details. Annual football meetings. This is what I mentioned earlier. This is going to be the 22nd and the 23rd. The annual meeting itself will be on the 23rd, but this is going to be located at the Dallas Renaissance Hotel. You can see on the Stemmons Freeway address there. We are the host, and on the 22nd, there are already many events that the DFOA are planning to hold. We'll be having a golf tournament, also a poker tournament, and we'll be having a raffle as well. And I know you'll be hearing more about that from us and from the state meeting committee as well. And then the 23rd, as I mentioned, is when we have the annual meeting sessions. Again, it's going to be at the Dallas Renaissance down on Stemmons. Chapter meetings. Okay, we're going to start off on July 24th. So that Monday right after the annual meeting will be our first in-person meeting. Again, as I mentioned, they'll be at Dallas College Brookhaven campus as well. Ideally, that same room that we've been using the last couple of years. And then we'll have updates via RefTown. As we always do, will be sent to all members, just reminding you of the sessions that are coming up. I had one more thing I wanted to share just to see, but I'm going to stop right here and see, are there any questions, Shane, that we need to address?
Just one. I imagine there's a few brand new officials on this call. There was a question asking, how do you go about getting a mentor? It's part of the mentoring program, so I was going to let you kind of address that.
Sure. Yeah. No. Good question. You'll hear us talking about it in the new members training that'll kick off on the 20th. But you can certainly send me an email, and I'll put your name on the list already. But we will be soliciting your names and building out who wants to be on, as well as who's a mentor that's looking to mentor somebody as well. So feel free to shoot me an email if you want, or I'm on, if you don't have my email, you can look on the DFOA.com website and look under directories, and you can find on the board directory, you can find my email and my phone number. I wanted to share, I haven't really done this before other than just with the board. Shane, are my slides viewable?
Yes.
Okay, good. So every year we survey our new officials and ask for feedback on the new officials training program, and then a couple other aspects of the chapter. And you'll see some of the questions that we ask here. I thought I'd just share with you because I think it's pretty insightful. And unfortunately, we had 129 members. Not all of those actually hit the field last year, but I only got 27 respondents to respond. I wish it was more, but after about 10 reminders, you're not really getting anybody else to respond. But just some quick data I'll share with you. This is just, I think this is good feedback for the new members training committee. In general, everyone seems to think that it's effective or very effective. Pretty high majority of people. We did solicit for what would you like to see more of a new members training? And I think there's a very clear message here that we need to do more mechanics training. And so I'll be working with the new members training committee to see how can we get more of our new officials out on the field, maybe working practices with some instructors even before the season starts. And then maybe even, again, trying to reserve more spring games and fall scrimmages for just new officials. So we're going to take a look at this and see how we can get more mechanics training into the new members training. Here's a stat that how many games did you officiate? And I think you can see here that almost half of our new officials are working 21 or more games, and I know we had some that worked way more than that. So new officials absolutely contribute. That's a lot of games that they help us cover. That sometimes is the difference between getting 5 officials for a 9th grade or a JV game and getting 4 officials for a 7th and 8th grade game. So I think we all agree that having 4 officials for 7th and 8th grade is a lot easier for us to officiate the game, and having 5 officials ideally for a 9th grade and a JV game actually helps us officiate that level as well. So hopefully this will continue. Just something we track though. We asked them about are you getting, rate the level of communication and information you're getting as a new member so that they're informed of the upcoming season and chapter events. I think the good news here is I think we're communicating well. I didn't see a real issue here. You can see that a very high majority of folks are saying it's excellent and good. So not an area that we need to focus on, but something we'll continue to do. And then we ask, rate the process for getting games assigned by satellite secretaries. And I think this is a great metric, which is indicative of the good job that our satellite secretaries are doing. I mean, 81% are saying it's excellent and good. So that's good news. And, I'm sure that'll continue this year as well. So that's good to see. And then we asked this question, indicate if you experience any of the following. And I don't think any surprise there that 74% felt they got verbal abuse from coaches. I think we would all probably agree with that. And to a way lesser degree, verbal abuse from players. The one number, though, that I know it's kind of small, but still is frustrating to me is that 11% of verbal abuse from other officials. And that just shouldn't happen. These are new officials, and, they're going to make mistakes. And, just like some of us still make mistakes. And, the way to handle that is, a little bit more professional. So I would just ask, let's think about how we say something to a newer official. And, there's ways to do positive criticism and things like that. So I would hope that number would trend to 0. And then there's some other questions here, other types of abuse and but again, I think no surprise here, at least from the verbal abuse from coaches and the verbal abuse from players. And then we just ask a general question. How do you rate your experience as a first-year official in the DFOA? Good news here is I think these numbers look really good. I would like for all of them to be excellent, but I understand it's a little frustrating your first year, and it can't always be rosy. But we're glad that that's such a high number, though. Do think it's excellent or good. And then the all-important question: do you plan on returning to officiate next season? Again, of these 27 respondents, it's very encouraging to see that 93% do plan to return this year. And I think we've already seen a little bit of a bump in retention year over year already in 2023. So that's a good sign. Okay. Any questions on that? Oh, did I get the date wrong on the meetings, guys? Sorry. Is there a question about the state meeting dates? Did I get them wrong?
I went ahead and Ken Lunto and I both put some information in there to make sure that was correct.
Oh, okay. Oh, it is one. Okay. I saw that. I worried that maybe I got the dates wrong. So thank you for checking that. Any other questions, Shane?
I think everything's been addressed.
Okay. Well, that's all I had. I want to thank everybody. 118 people on a Monday night, and I know the NCAA championship game is coming up in a little over an hour, so we're definitely going to get you off here in plenty of time. But looking forward to having another successful off-season training program. Please, if you are interested in doing leading one of the training sessions that I listed, please don't hesitate you can shoot me an email if you want, or you can put something in the chat. I'd love to see some folks step up. I don't really like to use the same people year over year. I think it's good for us to spread that around, and this is an opportunity for you to lead one of the chapter training sessions, and we'd appreciate it if you'd consider doing it. All right, Xavier, anything else before we wrap up?
No, Bruce, just thank everybody for coming on. Like you said, it's Monday and national championship game, so appreciate everybody being on.
Yep. All right, thanks, folks. We'll see everybody next Monday night.